I think my best advice for young women who are looking for that thing that really drives them, which is a very vulnerable spot to be in, is to show up with your whole self. Because we think that we need to bring our A game. We need to just show our best parts to everyone. But there is no job that's going to really drive you, that's going to reject your weak spots. Eventually, it's going to ask for them. And it's going to ask for them either in a growing way, or it's going to ask for them so that you can learn how to ask for help. And if we just go about it thinking that we are going to find this one thing that we are perfect at, and we're going to just be able to do that top part of it, rather than all of the hard work and learning and effort and energy and sweat that goes into the background of it, all of the mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. It's like such a huge part of my job. If we think we're gonna be able to find work that is meaningful, that we will not make mistakes in, we're gonna get bored really quickly. That's such a great question, and it very much deserves the answer of push yourself. Push other people to respect who you are, absolutely. But know that you are never gonna be perfect at your dream job, and that's what's gonna make it your dream job. Right?
Yes.
Agreed?
We both agree with yes. Speaking to the choir over here. Yeah. Well, you did fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You know, you're amazing.
Thank you. I kept forgetting what questions I was going to ask you.
I definitely would give that advice to a young woman wanting to go into rodeo. Plan to work harder, try harder, be smarter. You're just going to have to. But if you're willing to put the work in, there's absolutely nothing you can't do, and there's no doors closed to you. Absolutely not. You know, if you think there is, then you don't want it bad enough.
Perfect.
Good.
That's a great note to end on. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, my first advice is if you have a passion for something, you should just do it. Don't take excuses, don't make excuses, and don't be defeated by obstacles, because believe me, there are going to be obstacles. If it's worth getting, there are going to be obstacles. But if you really are passionate about something, you should follow your dream. You know, I had friends that told me, in fact, when we bought this farm, my mother's cousin, who I barely knew, said, "You've always wanted to live on a farm ever since you were a little girl." So she knew that about me, even without knowing me. And for years when we were looking for property, you know, my friends would say, "Are you still talking about moving to a farm?" I'm like, yes, because if I'm not looking and not trying, then we won't. So, you know, that was the first, that's probably the bottom line for me. Whether your passion is cheese making or dairy goats, or it's traveling or writing a book or learning to sing or whatever it is, like, do it, because why not? I mean, it's only going to make you happy. And if it's worth the effort, you'll get there. So that's probably my number one takeaway. Follow your dreams.
I guess I wish I would have started off with a really good farm realtor. Not to say that my realtor wasn't helpful, she was, but I think that with all the confusing issues about water rights, and we're not on a well, but you know, if we were, there's just so many pieces that of the puzzle that you have to decipher. Having a good realtor will hopefully, you know, help prevent some of the confusion in an already emotional and very tolling process. That would be my first piece of advice. But I think my major advice would be to laugh at yourself and take mistakes as experience building, learning processes. And as I was saying earlier, the land is forgiving, and if you overgraze a small area, it's okay. But rather than you didn't ruin a piece of land, what you did is you learned what your land can take with how many animals you had on it, and maybe you need to move them quicker. And there's just so much to learn, and it's impossible to be perfect. And we should celebrate our mistakes because they're You know, now you can go to somebody and tell them, hey, guess what's not going to work?